Okay, class, this is a special video to understand the vector quantity. I know that some of you don't really understand about the force. Okay, so this is the force that acting. Let's say I have a bag here. Okay, so the force, the pulling force is says 10 Newton, and then the angle of the force is 30 degree. Okay, so what is the component? We have to, every time when we have force, we know that there must be one force, it can be dissolved to two. One is what you call x component and another one is y component, right? Okay, why we need this? After the calculation I will explain why we need to have x component and y component. Okay, so if you apply force on this, the resultant force experience in x direction is definitely not 10 Newton, right? Definitely lower than 10 Newton. So what is the value of x component? Okay, so x component will be, you still remember I said you imagine that you are standing, okay, let's say Surya standing here. Okay, so Surya can imagine that he want to find the force that acting beside him, right? So beside him will be cos. So fx equal to f cos theta, right? So that will be 10 cos 30, which is 10 times 0.866 at 0.66 Newton. This is the x component. How about y component? So y component is this one, right? So I have to move it here. So this is y component, Fy, right? Imagine you still remember I said you can move the force everywhere, but you don't change the direction. So now Surya is standing at the angle here, the 30 degree. He is looking opposite, right? Looking opposite, you always use sin. So F sin theta. So which is equal to 10 sin 30. Sin 30 is 0.5. So it is actually 5 Newton. Okay, so I hope that you remember that is what we call x component and y component. Why is it we need to do this, the force? We call it, in Malay we call it lerayan, or we have to dissolve it to x component and y component. Okay, imagine there is a Hello Kitty bag, very pretty and nice. So Tan want it. So Tan put it with force of 10 Newton. Okay, again we use this 30 degree. Okay, then here come Debbie. Debbie said, wow, the bag is so nice, I want it. So Debbie put it here. Okay, 90 degree. Okay, this is 90 degree. So this is Tan. This is Debbie. Okay, so Debbie also want it. Probably Debbie stronger. So Debbie apply 100 Newton toward this direction. Now here come another person. Who are? Isaac lah. Okay, Isaac trying to get the bag as well. Isaac also fans of Hello Kitty. Let's say this is 45 degree and Isaac apply says 20 Newton. So now the question is where the bags will go. What is the resultant force? At the end of all this fighting, the bag will go to which direction? Okay, now we have to do calculation. How to do calculation? This one, tan force, we make it to x component and y component. Okay, so just now we already try, right? Okay, F for tan, Fx equal to at 0.66 Newton, right? Previously we already count. Okay, y component is 5 Newton. Okay, now we go to Debbie. What happened to Debbie? Debbie have only y component. There's no x component at all, right? So for Debbie, Fy equal to negative 100 Newton. It's just like a graph. When you move downward, we put it negative. Outward, positive. This one positive and this one negative. So Fx for Debbie is actually 0. Okay, so Tan settle, Debbie settle. Now we go to Isaac. Okay, what happened to Isaac? So Isaac also have x component and y component, right? So we have to calculate the x component for Isaac. X will be this side, right? So it's beside the angle. We use cos. So 20 cos 45. Okay? And then opposite is the y component. But this one is negative side, right? So we have to put negative. Now Fy will be 20 sin 45. Okay, so this is all the force that we make it to xy, xy, xy. So we have to put all the x together and all the y together. From there, we can estimate where the resultant force is. Okay, now we have to solve x component. X component. Okay, so positive means that this direction, the 0, and then negative this direction. So fx equal to 8.66 minus, this is negative, but 20 cos 45. Okay, so we see 20 cos 45 times 20, so 14. So 18.66 minus 14.14. Oh wow, so we know that actually the force will go towards this direction, right? Because you get negative value. Okay, 8.66. So negative 5.48. So this is x component. Now we go to y component. Y component. Okay, so y component, we have to sum up all the y, and y. Okay, so positive will be one side. So fy will be equal to 5 minus 100 plus 20 sin 45. Okay, let's see. Definitely will be negative value. Sin cosine 45 times 20. So 5 minus 100 plus 14 plus 14 plus 5 minus 100. So the answer is negative 80.86 Newton. So this is the resultant force we are going to we get it. So we know that at the end of the fight between Tan, Isaac, and Debbie, so the Hello Kitty bag will actually go towards x component will be here, negative 5 point something, negative 5.48, and then y component will be here because Debbie is too strong. So it will be, let's say, 80.86. Okay, so we know that the resultant force will be somewhere here, right? So what is the angle between these? We can actually calculate it by using sin or cos or even tangent. Okay, let's say we use tangent here. So theta here, so tangent theta equal to x component divided by y component, right? So we know that the resultant force here, you can use theorem Pythagoras. This square plus this square, square root of it, and the angle you can actually calculate using these two. Okay, so now you understand why is it we need to use when it is vector quantity, we have to really use x component and y component. Even though you have the whole class 30 students reboot for one Hello Kitty bag, we still can solve the problem. We still can see what is the outcome. Okay, that's all for vector quantity. Thank you, class.